Колеги, вітання. Ми продовжуємо робочий день. До слова.
We will continue our working day, and I give the floor to the spokesperson of the administration of the President of Ukraine on Antiterrorist Operation, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. After a short-lived lull, the combat in the anti-terrorist operation zone have become sharper again. The enemy has pulled heavy armaments to the front line, and they do not abandon attempts to make an offensive. Episodic provocations don't stop along the entire front line, and there are full-scale combat actions at key parts of the defense. In Mariupol sector, they do not stop to shell our positions in Shirokino. Apart from numerous provocations with small firearms, the enemy has also shelled our positions from 122mm cannons located in Sakhanka in Donetsk sector yesterday. Several hours before dawn, in the vicinity of the city of Marinka, there were two combat clashes of armed forces of Ukraine units with groups of gunmen 30 and 150 people strong, with the use of small firearms and mortars. All the attacks were repelled, although, however, the shelling of the city, including those with heavy arms, continued for the entire day. Also, the gunmen have been shelling and firing at our positions next to Krasnohorivka and the airport. In in the vicinity of Svitlodarsk water reservoir, the enemy tries to find weak places and spots in our defense. In Luhansk sector, the active combat action was observed at the broad front line from Popasna to Shastya. In the vicinity of Popasna and next to Trokhizbenka, the militants have fired at our positions from Grad batteries and also from 152mm cannons. In the vicinity of village Rikhove and settlement Novotoshkivska, the enemy has conducted heavy artillery fire from 122mm cannons. And late at night, in the vicinity of Sokelniki, there was a combat clash between the anti-terrorist operation forces with the enemy subversive group, which arrived from southeast. 9 flights of enemy drones were detected in the zone of anti-terrorist operation, and over the last 24 hours, 3 Ukrainian military have died as a result of combat action and 14 were wounded. Yesterday, the resident of the settlement Novotoshkivsk in Luhansk region, an 83-year-old man, was wounded by the explosion of a landmine, which was, according to the preliminary theory, planted by the subversive group of the gunmen. Also, in the night from 16th to 17th of June, as a result of firing from gunmen in Marinka, Donetsk region, 2 civilians were wounded. They are being helped now in the hospitals of Vuhledar and Kurakhovsky. Also, the provocations and combat clash action by gunmen is becoming more active, which leads to heavy destruction in frontline cities. You see on the photos how, as a result of firing from grenade launchers and high-caliber machine guns, the enemy destroyed 3 houses in the outskirts of Stanitsa Luhanska. Also, one of these days, the Russian mercenaries have violated Minsk agreements and used 152mm artillery and Grad batteries in the vicinity of Novotoshkivska, which led to new ruinations. At the same time, our military are conscientiously adhering to international agreements and help in every way the representatives of OSCE. Also, the Ukrainian military have helped to safely rotate members of monitoring missions who went to the occupied territory in the city of Luhansk. Ukraine also provides for the delivery of humanitarian aid to the occupied territory through the road checkpoint Bugas. 4 lorries with humanitarian cargo from the International Committee of Red Cross went to the occupied territories with almost 57 tons of foodstuffs. The Ukrainian armed forces are raising military skills and combat skills of their units. In Odessa region, there's a training of officers who are graduating from military educational establishments and will serve in military units. Almost 100 young lieutenants are taking part in this event. They are gathering practical experience. They protect and defend military units. They organize service at road checkpoints, and also they train how to act if they are ambushed or leaving the mined territory. The Ukrainian Special Services continue anti-terrorist events on the entire territory of the country. In Odessa region, the operatives have blocked the attempt of the activity of the so-called People's Council of Bessarabia, which is a project of Russian intelligence. One of detained is a citizen of Ukraine who had to be a public leader of this fake formation, and then he had to vanish, which would have become a pretext to blame Ukrainian Special Services. During the frisk, almost 500 copies of books with Russian propaganda were confiscated. Also, the Ukrainian Special Service have detected the secret contacts of the coordinator of the bandit group, who is the citizen of the Russian Federation and ex-leader of a unit of the so-called State Security Ministry of unrecognized Transnistria, Moldova Republic. He is being suspected to be part of the special services of Russia and is now in Moscow. Also, the Ukrainian law enforcers have detained a director of the gunmen's fire, nicknamed Malaya, who lived in the settlement Mironivska. For 4 months, this criminal was collecting the information about deployment, number, and kinds of military machinery of the armed forces of Ukraine. She has repented and testified to her cooperation with the gunmen. Yesterday, during the inspection of a cargo train, our bodyguards have detected 2 anti-tank mines without detonators. The fighters of the United Detachment of Police of Ternopil region have come home from Luhansk. They were defending and protecting strategically important objects, and they were also looking after public order. After several days of rest, they will come back to carrying out their service duties. Recently, a tour of a rock group contingent finished in the Antiterrorist Operation zone, who is composed of, the group is composed of former warriors in Afghanistan. They have staged several concerts in Slovyansk, Konstantinivka, and Kramatorsk. Patriotic Ukrainian folk and other popular musical works have gathered not only military servicemen but also local residents. Mariupol continues to contain the pressure of enemy mercenaries. The city port on the Sea of Azov is surrounded by a tight ring of road checkpoints and strongholds. Most of them are being manned by people from National Guards of Ukraine, from guardsmen from military units of Odessa, Mykolaiv, Kherson, and Zaporizhia. For most of them, this is not the first tour of duty. And this is, of course, not only combat action, but also long days, weeks, and months in trenches that became a second home for our fighters. And of course, the intelligence of the enemy does not sleep either. So the work in trenches does not stop almost and continues almost incessantly. They train every day, and at the order of the commander of the battalion, the firepower of the unit AGS-17 automated grenade launcher takes its position, and its crew, within several minutes, they are ready to fight. The guardsmen have a reliable fire support, and the guy who runs a grenade launcher, and his nickname is Bazooka, is a real fan of his business. He has personally measured the distance to all the yardsticks. Another way of riposte is sports. The guardsmen have equipped a fitness center, and then just in the field there's a football goal where the military can sometimes kick the ball. And Mariupol is within several kilometers from their positions, and the peace and calm of all those people and the rest of Ukraine is being protected by our guardsmen.
Could you provide the comments on the following, the detention of the Tornado commander? They say that this is kind of revenge, that they tried to stop the smuggled goods. You know, I can say whatever you wish, but there are some special agencies which are taking care of this case. As far as I know, on June 17th this year, the Department of Internal Security of the Ministry of the Interior, together with the Military Prosecutor's Office, they detained the commander of the Tornado Battalion and plus 7 more persons. Among those were the acting and former militiamen. And today they actually carry out some investigation in order to investigate to look into the matter and understand what happened. So we're waiting for the new information. Could you tell, please, these humanitarian convoys which constantly cross the border with Ukraine? The Ukrainian party, the Ukrainians have a chance only to superficially inspect the freight, and what's inside you can only guess. Is there any information about that? Because anyway, we do not know what they carry here, and for the Russians, this is a kind of another chance to say whatever they say and carry whatever they say. Indeed, our customs officers and border guards working on those 2 checkpoints, they can only carry out the visual inspection, what's going on. However, the mission is very important. We have to know exactly the number of those vehicles which illegally cross our frontier, our border, and we hope that sometime from now, through all the negotiations at international level, we'll be able to have the chance to inspect and properly register and record the humanitarian freight which could move to the territory of Ukraine. However, if indeed the Russian Federation would like to provide their assistance, and they dream that their humanitarian convoy is absolutely legal and legitimate action, then the Russian Federation has to involve in this action also the Ukraine's representatives. We expect when the day comes when this will be the case, but maybe by that time the Russians should not even send here the convoy, because the major, maybe in this case, they won't wish any longer to send convoys here, because in this case, if we have the access to that freight, they will be deprived of the possibility to achieve their goal. There are no more questions, so this is the end.